Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Finger Guns with Tony, Dave, and James. It's 2025. Happy New Year. And I am one of your wonderful, daring co-hosts, Dave Baldwin, and I'm here with absolutely no one. I'm riding solo today, guys. So get ready for it. The boys were working, so I had the opportunity to speak to José Avelino Gilles Corbett Lourenço about Young Werther, Canadian film, which is in theaters on January 10th, this Friday. It stars Douglas Booth, Alison Pill, Iris Apatow, Patrick J. Adams, Amrit Kaur, who you'll remember from The Sex Lives of College Girls on Max and Crave, Jahar Ben Eid, as well as Kids in the Hall alum Scott Thompson. It's a wonderful, I guess, romantic comedy, romantic dramedy set in Toronto about, it's kind of a love triangle about a gentleman who falls in love with a girl who happens to be engaged. And, as we like to say here at Finger Guns, hijinks ensue. So Jose is a first-time feature filmmaker. He lives in Toronto, so he wanted to make sure that the film felt like a love letter to Toronto, and I feel like he succeeds. It's funny, it's heartfelt, and you'll get a lot of feels from it for sure. So like I said, I had the opportunity to speak to Jose today, and here's our conversation. Stay tuned for more conversations this year, hopefully not just with me, and more great episodes are coming your way. So stay tuned, and without further ado, here is my conversation with Jose.
How's your day going?
So far, so good. So far, so good. Just so I don't butcher it later, would you be able to tell me your full name?
Oh, yeah. It's José Avelino Gilles Corbett Lourenço. It's obviously a bit of an affectation to use my whole name, but my dad's name is José Lourenço. My grandpa's José Lourenço. It's like the Joe Smith of Portugal and Brazil. Like José Lourenço is so common. I've never been able to get my @ or an email address. There's a very popular Goan writer whose name is José Lourenço, and a Brazilian musician. They've taken up all the websites, and so
those fuckers.
Yeah, God,
they didn't know you were. They didn't know you were coming. They didn't know you were coming.
They knew, and they are much more successful in their fields, and so good on them for staking the claim.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for taking the time today to talk to me. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Why did you choose Toronto as the principal setting when many of your peers that I've spoken to would have probably chosen Winnipeg?
I mean, Winnipeg is an incredible city, and everyone who hasn't seen Universal Language should go see Universal Language, or anything Guy Madden does, or anything that's, Winnipeg's a lovely setting. Why Toronto? Because Toronto is my home. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It's one of the most romantic cities in the world. I will go to the mat on Toronto being an incredible place to live and an incredible place to fall in love. It's where I met my wife. It's where my two beautiful daughters are growing up. It's a world stage city. It's an emergent city. It's the this sounds aggressive. I think it's the city of the 21st century. I think as the coasts become more and more unbearable to live on, it's going to be very unpleasant. The fires in LA, it's going to be unpleasant. The flooding in New York, it's going to be unpleasant living in London or Paris or Tokyo. But our beautiful landlocked lakeside, full of arable land in the immediate vicinity, incredible city filled with multicultural communities and incredible food and art and literature and music. It sounds aggressive, but it's the best city in the world. So why wouldn't you have your movie here?
No, that's I
too
totally
much?
agree.
Too
no,
far?
it's not. I
too far.
I feel like I appreciate the everything you said. I do feel like you might want this later for your pitch for Tourism Toronto, because that seems pretty much on point for what they would want to promote.
Give me a call, Tourism Toronto. I got lots to say.
Because it feels like its own character in the film. Everything you're saying, like that, everything, like it feels like its own character separate from everybody else. You have all like the set, the Toronto landmarks and just like the Toronto geography, and everything feels so lived in and beautiful.
Oh, thank you for saying that. That's so nice. It's I mean, you know, there have been films and television shows set in Toronto, of course, over the years, but I feel like so often in you know, the what's the word? I don't know, but so often we're playing things that are shot here, are playing different cities, or you know, it's I will say there were moments like where the where sales agents or other interested parties, potential financiers were like, can we just set it in New York? Can we do Chicago? Does it have to be Toronto? That's not going to sell as well. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the sales differences would be if you set the film somewhere else, but I just knew that you know, Toronto's my adopted city. I'm not from here. I'm not from Toronto originally, but there's a reason why I've made my home here and I'm never going to leave. And the experiences that I've had in my early 20s and throughout my 30s, you know, that fun and the joy and all that, yeah, could only really exist fully for me if we're shooting, you know, fireworks off underneath the Gardiner at Fort York, or up at Barapé with the most delicious gelato in the world, or yeah, just the neighborhoods that yeah, I've been so lucky to like explore and have incredible times with friends and family. And yeah.
I totally get it. I lived in Toronto for about 5 years. That's where I met my wife, and we moved back to Hamilton, where you have the scene at LaUna Station. So
that's right. Yeah.
As a Hamilton boy, I loved seeing it there.
My one of my best friends in the world, I was in a band with him years ago, and he and his wife moved out to Hamilton a couple years ago, and they have a beautiful little girl. And one of the most fun things about when we were getting some of our shots in Hamilton was I got to see Andy Lloyd and our other pal Tim, and hang out with them the night before. And then they were we had shot some interiors in Hamilton, and Andy and Tim, the guys from my band, are the guys playing bass and drums in Werther's band in that little flash moment near the beginning, where he's in his alt country band. So there's another Hamilton connection for you.
Amazing. I love those little flash moments that you have peppered throughout the film.
Oh, thank you.
How challenging was it to adapt the book to a contemporary setting? I know I read some of the press notes, and I know it was a passion project for you. So
yeah, it you know, it was the trickiest thing probably is like, you know, the novel is told as this the novel Swords of Young Werther that the film's based on. It's told through a series of letters that Werther is writing to his friend back home, Wilhelm, who in the film becomes Paul. And he you know, when I was working on it, I was like, how am I going to take this epistolary form and have it not just be a person like constantly writing emails and texting and leaving voice notes, and there's a little bit of texting, there's a little bit of voicemail stuff in the film, but created the character of Paul to give Werther like as a device to give Werther someone to speak to, and so that was one of the. But you asked about what the contemporary the challenges of making contemporary, which you know, the film is a contemporary adaptation, and I wanted it to still feel like an entire piece that's out of time. I feel like the novel has survived this long, 250 years, because it is like it's a timeless story. It's a very simple story at its heart. It's a boy and girl fall in love. The girl's engaged to someone else, but the love triangle is, you know, it's not this antagonistic, awful thing. It's this, you know, very strange, lovely story of like friendship and complicated feelings, and yeah, and I feel like that's something that can exist in any era. And so even though it's contemporary and we're seeing you know, Apple laptops and cell phones and all the markers of the digital era, I wanted it to feel like, yeah, maybe it's exactly today, maybe it's 40 years ago, maybe it's 100 years ago. It's like I wanted it to have its own sort of like bubble, its own sort of like sense of time, or own sense of yeah, its own identity. Sorry, I'm just rambling on now about the look and the feel of it. But so much of that comes down to the production designer, Kiara Vernon, and our costumer, Courtney Mitchell. The way Nick Haight, our cinematographer, shot the film with this sort of dreamy, beautiful, anamorphic that situates this romance in like a traditional film with more cinematic weight. I feel. I think things feel anachronistic. In terms of style of performance and in delivery of the language, but hopefully it all melds together in something that works and feels wholly of this film and nothing else.
No.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. It does feel very unique, and I love the look. The scene I really like up at the top where they're waltzing and they're dancing, and it's that montage of them dancing in the hotel or hotel room, and then you come back to it again at the in the credits with the one guy who's dancing.
Yes, yeah,
like,
and that guy. Oh,
it all looks amazing.
Oh, that is so nice. Thank you. Yeah, it was. I can't say enough about the all the department heads and the crew who worked on the film. I would feel like a weird sociopath to be like, it's the best looking movie ever. If it feels like I'm ascribing that to myself, but I'm not. I am celebrating the work of the people who actually made it look amazing. I can't operate a camera. I have no idea what lens does what. I've got to trust, the people around me to make it look so good. And they did. The way it was lit, the way it was shot, just the care that everyone in every department put into their roles, and just the creativity they brought to it is something I'm so grateful for, and something that sometimes I look at it and I'm like, wow, I cannot believe it looks this good. Thanks everyone who knows what they're doing. This is great.
who was that guy? the dancer.
The dancer. So the dancer was he was like a background performer who was just brought in like for the party scene, but very quickly like distinguished himself as like the most incredible. He was pulling off these moves, and I was like, who is this guy? I was like, let's feature him. And so he was upgraded to I can't remember what the category is, but like special performer or something. And we're like, let's okay. And I was like, oh my God, this is the credits of the movie. It's all here. He is Werther's spirit. He is like the spirit of this film, and he is on his own, and I don't know. I think like the track we had him dance to at the end on the day was not Call Your Girlfriend, Dancing on My Own, the Robin Body Talk track. And he was just killing it. And it was just, everyone was so happy that day and in that moment, and watching him. And I was like, this is the note to go out on. This is the guy. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You mentioned your appreciation for your crew. Were there any other challenges you were surprised in making your first feature? Was there anything you weren't prepared for?
Oh, I mean, God, a million things that I wasn't prepared. It was such a learning experience across the board. Like I'd made some like shorts and music videos and commercials over the years, but like nothing of this scale, and nothing where it felt like everyone on set was really working together with like sort of a common purpose. And I don't know. Maybe if you poll every single person there, they might not have the exact same response, but it did feel like a very like loving, happy, excited, fun set. And but yeah, the surprises. I mean, when we were scouting, I mean, there were a lot of moments where our location manager, Mark Elaine, who's amazing, or one of our producers would be like, you're kind of picking a lot of exteriors that are going to be quite loud, and is that going to be an issue? And I was like, we got mics, we got a great sound guy, it's going to be fine. And filming under the Gardner Expressway and shooting off fireworks turns out is not easy. Or locking up the street outside Barapé is like, maybe you can get that street, but you can't shut down St. Clair, and traffic is loud. So there were a lot of audio fixes in post that were 100% my fault for picking certain spots that I was like, it's going to be so beautiful and it's going to be amazing, and look where the sun is and look how we're going to frame this, and forgetting at times that sound is more of a concern almost than the image when you're putting together a narrative film.
Well, you live and learn, right? Like,
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
How were you able to assemble this terrific cast? Like Douglas and Allison are incredible, but your supporting cast, like Iris Apatow, Patrick J. Adams, Scott Thompson, like everybody's on fire here. And then you mentioned the gentleman who played Paul. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I'm going to butcher it badly. But they're all
Johar Ben-Aid. Johar.
Johar. Yes, they're all so good. And Amrit Kaur, who's on College
Sex,
Girls
Labs, and College Girls. Yeah.
On HBO. Like everybody's so good. How did you assemble this terrific cast?
Oh my God. I mean, I feel so lucky and so grateful that we have the cast that we did. We had an amazing casting director, Angela Demo, who worked tirelessly for a long time to put this together. It was just, interviewing people and just like meeting with tons of actors and just trying to find the right, I don't know. I wish I had a better answer than talking to lots of people and seeing who responded to the script and trying to figure out the weird House of Cards balancing act that that becomes the cast. It was we found our Werther first. That was sort of like he's the lead, and I saw Doug in for the first time in the Riot Club years ago, the wonderful Loni Scherfig film that starred like every young, handsome, talented British actor at the time, 2014. It's crazy when you look at the list of talent that was in that film. But he always stood out for me, and when I met Doug in a Zoom interview, it was just his take on the material and how prepared he was and how dedicated he was. Even at that moment, it really was like that combined with how, he's someone who is so classically handsome and such a like matinee idol, like leading man who often plays these like, sort of like brooding, like, I don't know, like dramatic roles. But him as a person, he was so charismatic and so light and so lovely to speak with. And just, there was just something in him where I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect, he's got the perfect tenor to like temper the more unpalatable aspects of Werther's character. Because Werther can very easily be read as a villain and as a cad and as someone who is quite detestable. And I feel like Doug brings something to it that like just makes him someone, no matter what he's doing, you can smile with him. You can be brought along into his world, and you can enjoy the moment the way that he enjoys everything. Sorry, I'm just rambling again now about.
No, it's all good.
But Doug's incredible. Alison Pill, national treasure, like just the most wonderful actor. A genius. Iris, such an incredible improviser and so kind to everyone around her, so thoughtful. Everyone was so kind. Amrit Kaur, a genius improviser. Scott Thompson, like a childhood hero. Like Kids in the Hall meant so much to me. Patrick J. Adams, like so steady, so smart, and so witty. Like in a cast full of people who could make me laugh at any minute, Patrick J. Adams is like. He's just so quick. He's someone who, in a conversation where, when you're chatting with your friends and, everyone's kind of like playing off each other and like running with a gag or doing a bit. He's someone you just can't keep up with. He's just got that mind that, So lucky to have this cast.
Amazing. So, I guess to wrap it all up, what's next?
Yeah, there's a show that my brother and I are developing with Incendo Entertainment out of Quebec. That's sort of a black comedy series about two brothers, a younger gay brother who's super gregarious and out there, and a older depressed agoraphobe brother, very loosely based on me and my brother in our 20s. And the younger brother bringing the older brother into his fabulous world. So we're working on that. We're trying to cast that right now. And then I'm writing another sort of black comedy behind the stage thing about aging and ambition and envy and murder most foul. And I'm hoping to have a draft of that ready to go soon. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. It all sounds great. But thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me today. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed the film. Congratulations and all the best.
Thank you so much. I hope to run into you at wonderful Detour Coffee in Hamilton or another Hamilton spot. Thank you so much.
I look forward to it.
Okay.